Hi, everyone. This is Rachel Astor, and I am excited to talk to you today. I'm a recent graduate of the UVille College with a master's in dietetics and owner of Real Life Dietetics and Consulting, where we look to provide the community with health information to empower people to eat healthier through nutrition, education, and incorporate those skills into practice regardless of socioeconomic barriers. Um, Today, we'll be talking to you about nutrition, but first, I wanted to thank the Girl Scouts of Western New York for inviting me to be part of their cookie jar presentation series. I myself was a Girl Scout in my youth and appreciate and acknowledge their efforts to turn girls into leaders as well as give back to their communities. So please be sure to go over to their Instagram page as well as their Facebook page and like them and share the information they are giving to us. Today, we're going to talk about eating optimally during the pandemic. As we know, this period of time is very different than anything we've ever lived in. And here's some just tips and tricks and some mind reframing to do to help us get through this without eating too poorly. As we're saying, what now? We have more time now and therefore more distractions. We are finding ourselves um, providing daycare all day, as well as trying to work sometimes from home. Some of us, unfortunately, lost our means of employment. So there's just a lot of different scenarios that may have come into your life at this time. And I'm hoping that I'll give you some information that'll help you get through those in terms of food and nutrition. I've also heard from many women and just people in general that during this time we have done a lot more snacking, causing us to gain the quarantine 15. That is very possible that that could have occurred within these last 3 months or so of sheltering in place. We tend to snack often, especially in moments of stress and in moments of uncertainty, as well as just when we are present in with food present in front of us. And if we are at home all day where there are likely snacks, it's so different from the lifestyle we led when we were usually attending work at these hours that it's much more likely that you may be overeating. So if that occurred, don't knock yourself for it. It happens to the best of us. And we are going to talk about some stuff later that will hopefully help you get out of that situation. Kids are often a driver of eating as well, as they like snacks all day and will request them, and you may be inclined to eat them with them if they are eating them. So also they do need to eat, actual meals. So you also might be inclined to eat those. So having your kids around you all day can be a little stressful, and as well. So also add to the eating problem. So all these things added together can increase our eating, and we do not want to increase our calorie intake more than our needs. Also, wine. I myself have had some during this period of time, and you guys, I'm sure, have as well. However, we do want to try to limit our intake of wine to 1 to 2 glasses a day, especially for women. Alcohol is a source of pretty much empty calories, and the best thing for us to drink is water. Now I want to speak to you about mindfulness. Now we often hear this term in use in terms of things like meditation or better overall lifestyle management and living. However, it is very applicable to nutrition as well and your eating patterns. With the process of mindfulness, you were asked to, pause and think about how you're feeling. When I say mindfulness in terms of eating, I say pause and think about what you are eating and maybe how that is affecting you either emotionally or if you're eating for a reason that may not be hunger. As the second bullet point says, you should eat when you're hungry, not really for other reasons. However, as humans and social beings that we are, we eat for several reasons that aren't necessarily completely triggered by hunger. We eat socially. We eat often when we are mistaking our hunger for something like thirst. We eat often when we are bored. We eat often when we are stressed. With all those different factors coming into when you might to things that may be causing you to eat, I'm asking in the sense of mindfulness that you consider what your reason for eating is before you go to eat something. When you do eat, take time to enjoy what you are eating. Often we get caught up in our busy schedules, and now we get caught up maybe with trying to do a Zoom meeting with our work, and our kid over here poking us inside, and maybe a dog, who knows, trying to vie for your attention, and you're probably not necessarily paying attention to the 4 snacks you just had, like the chips, and then you had some carrots, and then you had like a candy bar, and you didn't really acknowledge any of that. You just ate it, and you don't really want that to occur, because a lot of mindless eating just leads to extra calories in your body that you probably aren't accounting for and probably aren't nutritionally sound. And you want to try to continue to eat balanced meals and watch your snack intake, especially during times like these where you may overdo it just because of the different nature and different scenarios that you are in. However, if you do eat something bad, don't feel guilty about it. It's not the end of the world. You can always get back on the horse the next day if you were trying to do better. It's not, you shouldn't feel bad about what you're eating. Do not shame yourself. It's not going to help your overall goals either. So don't shame yourself into if you ate something poorly. Just make a point to try to do better the next time you eat. Okay, now here's some tips on eating just generally better. First and foremost, cook your food. We've gotten away from this in modern society. We do a lot of ordering out. We do a lot of processed food cooking from pre-made items. And the best way to monitor what you're eating, as well as know what's in your food, is to cook it yourself. Now, we all don't have time for that, and I'll get to that later. But the best way to eat nutritionally and the easiest change you can make in your lifestyle to eat nutritionally often is to start cooking your own food. It's most cost effective, as well as just generally best, because you have a better idea of what you're doing, and it's easier to acknowledge what you're eating and know what you're eating when you are making it yourself. I also suggest that you consider how you are cooking. There are several methods of cooking that are healthier just in general than other methods. There's certain oils you can use that are healthier than other oils. So if you are frying often, you may want to lessen the amount of food you are frying, or just the amount of fried food you eat in general, and maybe move to more steamed food or more braised meats if you are eating meat. To not, these methods of cooking provide less calories than our frying and maybe some other methods of cooking. So I suggest that you maybe just shop around for some other methods of cooking. Poaching, baking your food often can result in very nice outcomes in comparison to frying, if you're interested in that. I also suggest that you try something new. We often get into a position where we find ourselves eating the same thing over and over and over again, which sometimes can be convenient. However, if you are looking to increase your nutritional value of your food, you will probably find that there are several recipes out there that are foreign to you, however, will provide you with different methods of cooking and spicing and just recipes that are intriguing to you, delicious, as well as just something you've never considered. I do a lot of exploration with other cultures, food. So I look at recipes from Indian cultures, African cultures, and Asian cultures to see what they are eating, to see potentially what different ideas I can come up with that may be more nutritionally sound. Indian cultures are very much more primed to a lot of vegetarian foods. Asian cultures already cook with significantly less meat than American standard diet. So if you lean toward some degree of exploration into other recipes, you may find that you enjoy them, as well as some better nutritional value. For yourself, I think it's also really important that we redefine for ourselves what meals are. Every meal does not have to be 3 tart situation where there's vegetables and starch and then protein. Um, it is best to set up your plate with half vegetables or non-starchy vegetables, carbohydrate source of some level and some protein source, if about 1/4 of your plate. However, it's not required that you eat 3 meals a day if you're not interested in doing so. It is not required that you have meat at all your meals if you don't want to. We've gotten caught up in a sense of what we need to eat and what we don't need to eat. A lot of that is marketed to us, and we don't need it that way. If you for some reason for dinner and you're all you had is a banana and some almonds, that's okay. Like, you don't necessarily have to have a meal every meal time if you're not interested in doing so. But back to the mindfulness slide, eat what you are currently hungry for at the time, but don't overdo it. Don't just feel obligated to eat a meal because it's dinner time. In reference to our children, they can often be picky eaters, and I suggest that you can find clever ways to hide vegetables in their food. Cauliflower rice does hide well in real rice. If you do half and half, your kids probably won't necessarily notice, and you'll be giving them more vegetables and simultaneously yourself. So that is a good method of sneaking some vegetables into your kids' food. I've also seen that you can do things like zucchini noodles mixed with noodles. You can also do things like cauliflower, like mac and cheese, as opposed to uh, simply just giving them the starches. Carbohydrates are not bad for you. I'm not saying that they are. We just, as American society, do not eat enough vegetables and get enough fiber. Your best sources of fiber will be your vegetables and your whole grains. And we in America only get about 7 grams a day, when it is suggested and pretty much good for good nutritional value to get 25 if you are a woman and 38 if you're a man. So we have to up our fiber intake. It helps us get everything good going in our bodies, and we need a lot more in our diets. So this is why I suggest that you try to hide vegetables in your kids' food as well as yours if you need to do it for yourself. And in regard to other healthy lifestyle suggestions, meal planning. Meal planning is an excellent way to cut costs as well as save time in regards to food preparation as well. And it is, I found, in at least personally for me, the best way to and monitor what I'm intaking, as well as see actual progress in terms of weight and weight loss, if that's what you're interested in through this process. Because I find it to be beneficial for a couple reasons, and I'll list those. Well, I said also first, it helps save money, so that's always important, especially when you are a working individual with potentially a family. You need to try to save money at all points. So it's very cost effective if you are planning, because you don't do a lot of buying that is unnecessary. It saves time in, okay, when you do the meal prep, it takes time to do that, but maybe I think max 3 hours. I can't imagine why it would take 3 hours to cook like the food, unless you're doing like a soup or a braised meat or something that would require a long time of cooking. However, I would say 1 to 2 hours out of your week to prepare probably 75% of your food will save you a lot of time later. But I think the main benefit of meal prepping comes from the fact that you have something on hand that is healthy already, so that when it comes time for you to eat, you will already have something there and you won't be seeking out something. So it'll be easier to make the good decision and just eat that item that you already prepared, as opposed to trying to find something else, because that can lead you to making a choice that might not be the healthiest choice. So I feel that it is most beneficial in that sense, that it gives you a great option right away to have ready on hand, as opposed to something that may not be as nutritionally sound. And another thing you can do to, like, because this is Girl Scouting, and I assume we are mostly parents here, if not parents, women that work with kids, we can cook and make snacks with our troops or our own kids, and letting them participate in small tasks like cleaning fruit and other food practices. Firstly, associates them with food and gives them a better idea about what they're doing around that, as and it also involves them and gives them something to do, so they're not as bored, and um, will also allow you to, share time with them and help them develop healthier habits around eating. So in closing, I just wanted to go over some stuff and like, so as I said, please be mindful about what you're eating during this time. It is important that you think about what you're eating before you just go eat something, really, at the end of the day. Um, Make sure to get more water, and also just if you do eat something poorly, and if you did gain that quarantine 15, it's okay. Do not judge yourself. It happens to the best of us. And like I said, during this moment of high stress that very much we're in, it is very possible that it occurred. Do not feel bad about it. It is something you can work your way out of. Try to do some of the tips. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to write them in the comments below. Or you can head over to my page, Real Life Dietetics and Consulting, on Facebook, and I will happily answer as many questions as you may have. Um, so once again, thank you to the Girl Scouts. I encourage everyone, if you are interested, to please go and volunteer with the Girl Scouts of Western New York, as they are an excellent organization. And thank you all for your time. Have a good day.